Welcome back to Under Oath. Welcome to the Under Oath podcast. I'm your host, accident attorney Jeff Kaufman, i.e., I help people who are in accidents. But I also get the benefit of doing stand-up with you.
You do?
We do a couple radio shows.
We do?
I write some comic books.
You write some great ones.
And we get to do this show that's heard worldwide.
Look at us.
Look at us being important.
We sound great on paper.
I'd be a terrible black person.
Wait a minute. What?
I really would be.
Why? Okay, why would you specifically be a terrible black person?
Because I would feel like the necessity to wear a bow tie immediately.
Why?
I'd be that guy.
You want to be that black guy?
Because the bow tie guy always sounds like a white guy.
Okay. Oh, you want to? So you're like, okay, if I'm gonna,
have to. That's the requirement.
If I'm gonna sound like
that's
this,
the requirement.
Gotcha.
If I sound like I sound,
yeah, you got to wear a bow tie.
You know, I think I'd be like when I'd be some.
And you got to wear glasses with the round frames. That's also
really yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to go to church then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is that a requirement?
You'd have to be a deacon.
Do you go to church?
Not like I used to.
What'd you do?
I grew up in church. Like I used to go a lot. Like
a dancing church or just like a regular church?
A dancing church? Like we had a step. Like we were competing.
Listen,
wait a minute.
I've been to the Baptist churches.
Church. Oh, you mean
with some gospel? I mean, there's some shoe moving in there.
Yes, there's every black church is that. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
A lot of hands up in the air.
Yes.
I mean,
a lot of hallelujahs.
I have no rhythm. I have no rhythm, so I can't go.
You still can go.
Oh, you know what happened?
We invite everybody.
Have you ever seen a bunch of white guys dancing in church?
I have.
Not good.
It wasn't.
Not a good look.
But here's the rule: if you can't dance that well, just put more in the offering plate. God will forgive you.
You do that shuffle.
Yeah.
I look like Trump, with the hands out. Yeah.
Trump in a black church. There's a sight.
I'm going to be, forget politics. I want every politician from now on to dance like Trump.
No.
Because you know why?
No.
You know what that dance is? I do what I want to do.
That's pretty much it.
That's the I'm wearing pajamas 24/7 and I feel good.
That means
means you don't care how
I
you
am
look.
very rich. I don't give a damn what's going on.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I really don't care.
I love when people do act like they own the room.
You like that?
I love it. I love it because you want to be around somebody who feels confident in the room.
But we only accept that in a few different professions where we like the cockiness. Politicians, because it becomes like, because we root for politics like we do our favorite football team.
Right.
We like it with our sports figures, like boxers. We love cocky boxers. Yeah. Like Floyd Mayweather, one of the cockiest athletes ever. We love that about him.
He's tiny.
Yeah, not a huge person.
I saw him in Vegas.
Yeah.
No, I mean at the next table.
Yeah.
He had a table all by himself.
Yes.
And people made sure to kiss the ring of the man.
And what did we talk about in the car? You said when you're rich, people are what? Nice to you.
Yes. Oh.
Very nice to you. Yes.
Man, there's rich people money where everyone's nice. See, being rich isn't about being able to buy stuff.
No.
It's the way people treat you.
That is correct.
You call your doctor anytime you want, sir.
Yes.
That's what rich people do.
Yeah.
You have a pilot who puts your luggage on the plane.
Yeah, no skycap.
No.
It's him.
There's no waiting.
I'll take that back, sir.
I'll be at the plane at 8. Plane takes off at 8:15.
Yes.
You think the pilot's ever going to look at you and go, oh, I'm sorry, there's a delay. You're going to have to give up your seat.
No.
You're the only one on the plane.
You're the only one.
There are 8 seats.
And you told me the guy that you travel with, won't say his name.
I can't say his name.
Very well off.
Yeah.
So
ridiculous
you
money.
go to his private plane.
Yes.
Captain puts your bags on.
Yes.
Waits for you to sit down in your big comfy seat. See, I've only sat
Ask you if you want a drink.
Did you get coffee? Did you get a bourbon? Hold on one second. And they bring you out like on a camel with a velvet.
Well, he's not wearing like a fez or something.
A velvet thing to bring you like special coffee, whatnot.
He'll bring you a drink.
And then once you land, what's waiting for you on the tarmac?
Suburbans.
Yes.
Like SUVs.
Multiple ones.
And black ones.
Yes.
They're always black.
They're always black. Tinted windows.
Yeah.
And they take you to the hotel?
Yeah.
Do you check in the hotel like a normal person? What do they hand you when you walk in the door?
A key.
A key. You don't do anything anymore.
No, that's rich people trying.
That's rich people right there.
Yeah. I don't know what that's like.
I don't either.
And I don't like to do it.
It makes you feel weird?
Like he asked me, and I'll go, yeah, sure, it's cool. And then the next time I have to travel like regular.
Messed you up.
Yeah.
You don't know what you can't go from sitting in a luxury seat, a leather seat on a plane to going where I sit in Frontier.
No.
Frontier is half this seat I'm sitting in right now. There is a special Frontier ticket where it's called the piggyback, where it's 2 people in one seat.
I was on a cruise the other day and they had like this tour and everyone gets in the tour bus.
Yeah.
I get the one seat and the seat I had like the wheel well on it where it stuck up like this.
Oh, yeah.
And my feet, I was looking like Bugs Bunny with my feet up in the air.
Yeah.
And the person I was with looked over and goes, "Are you comfortable?" Do I look comfortable?
You can taste
Where's
your knee.
the private plane?
You can lick your knee. Your knee's
mad.
right here. Yes.
I was going, and I'm old. I'm like, how long can I stay in this position? It was like yoga. I can't do that.
No, I can't do this.
I can't do that.
I'm an upward dog right now.
All right. Pretend I'm a lawyer for 10
I got
seconds.
a great question for you this time, man. Okay, my husband had a surgery on his testicle.
Ooh, how's that good?
It's not. Well, the question's good, not the procedure.
No jokes.
No jokes. Well, this gentleman, he had a procedure because they thought he might have a tumor in there, so they operated on it. Now, the urologist told us the day of the surgery, his office would contact us in 3 weeks to review the pathology, right? And let him know whether or not it was cancerous. So, it's serious. Over a month went by, no call. So the wife called to make an appointment, and the scheduling department...
Every second over that 3 weeks.
I would be, a nervous wreck. Like, what's going on?
Right.
So she called the scheduling. You know what scheduling told her? We will not give you your results until you pay 1/3 of the debt you owe us for that visit. So she said she paid, and then they said they wouldn't be able to tell her until late July for some reason, and it was June. So she thought legally that if someone has cancer, they must tell you no matter what's going on. So yesterday, the urologist called personally and told us that he does have cancer and was personally furious, she said, because it had been 3 months to get the diagnosis to them. Is there a case for them to sue that practice? That's tough.
Holding back
that kind of information.
Yeah. And if they had it within 3 weeks and they waited
3 months,
there are a lot of things this is under.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of issues, emotional issues.
Morally.
Is 3 months... Did that affect your ability to actually survive it?
Treatment, yes.
A lot of people don't think that we don't have good medical. We have great medical here in comparison to other countries. When they go, well, it's free there. Yeah, but you wait 3 years for something.
It's not the same.
Like somebody had an MRI for cancer, and they said, you have to wait a year to get the MRI. Clearly unacceptable. In this case, absolutely unacceptable. And there is no... Malpractice is determined based on some very clear factors. First off, was the conduct reasonable?
Okay.
Okay. In this case, you need another doctor to say whether that conduct's reasonable. You could probably find a bunch of doctors who are going to go, that's absolutely unreasonable.
Got it.
Now you're going to say, was the damage caused by his unreasonable actions the reason for his damages?
Mm-hmm.
That's the second part.
Gotcha.
So the first part, yes, it's absolutely unreasonable. You're a piece of crap. Your office is a piece of crap. And you should never, ever work on anybody again.
Yeah.
Forever.
In that field.
You are dog crap. Second, obviously I could find 7, 8 different doctors who are still practicing and go, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue is, of course, the emotional damages. You did it because waiting 3 months for a cancer diagnosis when you had that information 3 weeks before.
Could you imagine the mental state that person would be in?
You're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Plus, if the cancer has spread over this period of time.
3 months?
Yeah, not good. You have a case. I don't think the stock should be practicing. At a minimum, I'd contact the board, whatever state board.
That's my question. At what point does this guy probably not need to be doing this anymore?
I would think that this guy should get his license pulled.
Got it.
I mean, there's nothing worse than what this guy did. I mean, God forbid, you don't have to understand the world we live in to get that what he did was absolutely wrong.
That's wrong.
Doctors have to go through many different courses. They have to take updates, a bunch of courses you constantly have to take to be better if you've been a doctor for a period of time. But yeah, not good. And I think a lot of people might be interested in making sure this doctor doesn't practice again.
Ever.
God, that sucks.
That's bad. That's bad. Like that. I understand that people for their services need to get paid, but there is a line between,
you can't hold a diagnosis
that's
off for a check.
Yeah, that's.
Now, you could go after them in court for it.
Yes.
But yeah, and I'm sure that there isn't a medical board on the planet that would okay that.
No.
Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people can't get their diagnosis over the phone. It's illegal to give a diagnosis.
And I heard that. But they tell you normally when something like this happens, I need to see you right away.
Okay. Now, I took an AIDS test when I was in college.
Okay.
And I called to get the results. They go, the doctor's going to need to see you.
And at that time, you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know.
So you were freaking out.
I was freaked out.
Okay, yeah.
And the worst thing is, my girlfriend was in town at the time, and I had to go with her.
Oh, you both were just beside yourselves, man.
And she's the one who recommended I get one of these.
Okay.
So not because she had an issue, but she wanted to make sure we were both good.
Safe.
And we're sitting there in this waiting room for 2 hours in one of the back waiting rooms, you know, where they have the table where you're sitting on it. I'm like, why do they have me in this room? They're not going to like check me out. And he walks in 2 hours later and goes, yeah, you're fine, man. And walks out.
What?
I'm like, whoa.
Wait a minute.
Why? He goes, well, by Oklahoma law, we had to.
But you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I was sick. Now, what they should do, hey, by law, you have to come in good or bad. Mm-hmm. That's what they should say.
Yeah.
But
to let people know.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty crappy. And if you're ever in Oklahoma or some other states, beware that might be the way the law works. I'm in Florida, and it works here, too.
Got it.
All right. Take care. Be well. Oh, Meathead's on next.
Yeah.
I shouldn't call him Meathead.
Greg Lynn.
Do you think he knows I call him that every once in a while?
Yes, I think he does.
He does?
Yes.
What if he's... No, he's not in trial right now. He should be coming out any minute.
Yeah, he'll be here.
Hold on. Here's the thing. Because I know he doesn't listen to the show.
You sure?
Yeah. You know why? Because he only talks about his segments.
That's correct.
You know, I think I look good. You wear the same outfit.
He looks like he's on a blue collar tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
He looks like he's right about to. You know, you might be a redneck. No.
We love you, Greg.
Welcome to Attorneys Arguing. No, we've been together almost 28 years.
I still remember you and I going to the utility center for the public defender's office so that we could get our pictures taken.
Yeah,
and I remember you being chased by a bee all the way down the street. That's one of the first memories I have of Mr. Kaufman here.
Symbolic.
It's very,
symbolic.
very, very, very funny. You could have, if you guys could have seen him swatting at this. He had sort of a fro.
It was like a hornet. It was a pterodactyl of bees.
It was a pretty big wasp.
Big.
But he had this fro, and it looked like a nest, I think, for this wasp. It's trying to go in, and as he's running, he's almost hitting himself in the head trying to get the.
That's big. It was.
And if you're sitting there
watching
watching it happen, it's actually pretty funny. I would have felt bad if you got stung, but you didn't.
When I think about stuff, people always bring up. They go, "You guys are attorneys. In my state, it's not the way it works." Well, we know that. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of states are different. In fact, the laws are so different in other states. They're exactly the opposite of the state right next to it.
This show's only for about 12 people. I mean, if you're listening to us from other states,
we're in trouble because we got about 1.2.
Do we really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The last video with your mug on it got 3.4 million views.
Oh my God. You guys get a hobby.
You were so proud of that too.
I was proud.
You thought it was the thumbnail that did it.
I was shocked.
The thumbnail did it.
I couldn't say that I was proud. I was shocked that it was, it was good information.
It's about a fair.
Yeah, it was good information.
It was about a fair.
Yeah.
We were talking about a fair. We're talking about practice. It was a fair ride.
Yes.
It wasn't interesting. It wasn't fun.
It was informative. 3.4 million people think it was informative.
Actually, a lot of people were angry at us. How dare you? That's not the way it works in mine. Everyone's trying to inform us how insurance works. I have to say, we're pretty good with insurance. We understand this stuff pretty good. And in every state, it's different. It's so bizarre because you and I will go, wait a minute, is that the law? And they go, well, that's this state it is. You go, that's crazy. Why would they do that? You know why? Because they don't care.
Sometimes they don't,
Yeah. You know that laws are made up by actually private corporations. Private corporations lobby our congressmen, our state congressmen, when they want laws more favorable to them. And we've discussed that. Insurance companies are probably outside of the pharmaceutical industry, probably the largest donator to elections.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Defense contractors, the guys who make the rockets and the missiles and the bullets and the tanks and all of that, those guys, the pharmacy, like you just said, and then right behind those two, it's got to be big insurance.
Instead of we the people, it's we the corporations.
Yeah, no kidding.
We the corporations are making these laws. I can't tell you how many times, like they changed some of the negligence laws in Florida a couple of years ago, and watching these congressmen get up and know nothing about what was going. No, nothing about insurance.
Depressing.
And when they ask these guys what they know, they go, oh, well, my staff knows. My staff, I didn't elect your staff. And the fact is we know who elected you. The guys who are giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars and sometimes millions of dollars to run. And the idea that you get up there and you look directly in the camera and you say, I'm representing my constituents. No, you're not. How the hell are you richer after you get out than when you went in?
Yeah, impossible.
I mean, money doesn't work like that.
So you agree, term limits for everybody, not just presidents.
Yeah.
Term limits for everybody.
I think after 18 years, you're done.
Is
almost
that fair?
20.
Yeah, that's more than fair.
Because look at the age of some of these congressmen. They're so old, they can't show up. I think one of the rules is you should be able to get on a plane. If you can't fly anymore and you're going, well, I'm still helping you're not helping anybody. You're not involved. You're not motivated. You're not doing your thing. You're just there because you have a name.
You become too jaded after it's got to be 2 terms. 2 terms has to be it.
I mean, how the hell are you worth over $10 million? What did you do privately to get you $10 million? It's impossible. Oh, I was working full time, dealing with voters, dealing with this, and somehow on my off time I made $10 million.
The problem is we all know what you did to get the money, all of us, and we don't care.
We do.
That's
care.
The problem. We don't care. We don't care enough to do anything about it.
But we don't understand.
We care in that we'll say things like this on a show like this, but really we don't care because who's arrested? Who's arrested for having a $10 million estate when they made $170,000 a year?
Yeah, that's painful. Even working that money, let's say you made 25% on your whole. You didn't put any of your money into anything. And you put like 25% of it away. There's no way you're getting to 10 million off 170.
Impossible.
In 4 years.
Impossible.
8 years. If you're a president and you come out of here and you're worth $100 million on your way out the door, I mean, what do you make, $250,000 a year?
Yeah.
So let's do let's say Trump. Trump donates the salary, but he gets out with $1 million. How does that turn into 100?
It doesn't, and we know it.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. We don't care. Well, we care enough, like I said, to say it, but we don't care enough to do anything about it.
What are you going to do about it?
Why doesn't the IRS do something about it?
IRS works for the president.
Oh, not when he's not president anymore.
Well,
hey, did you get all this income? How'd you get all this income? Where did it come from?
Well, they're going to say from speaking. People paid me to speak. Who paid you? The company said. The company that financed my last campaign.
China.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Iran paid me $17 million to give a speech at a college.
All right. Well, I get handed these questions early on. I have not read the question. The reason I hold them is because I don't make noises when I hold them.
That should be bribery now. You can't get paid more than $10,000 for a speech. That should be the deal.
No, because that's you have a right to make money, and then they're going to say that's
you
not
don't have
capitalism.
a right to be bribed.
What about celebrities? Celebrities
You
get
don't
paid
have
more
a
than
right to
$10,000
say,
a show.
oh, well, Iran gave me $17 million to put on a speech about cooking oil. Sure, it was about cooking oil.
I'm entertaining.
And not to grease the wheels
I'm an
to get a
entertainer
favorable.
now. I'm an entertainer now. I get paid to talk.
You're not. Why not when you're a president or a senator or a
So
House
we're going to limit their
representative?
income once they leave?
Once they're done?
Yes.
No.
Well, that's what
Give
they get paid
all
for.
the speeches you want when you're done.
You think Clinton made that money while he was in office? No, he made it
Well,
afterwards.
their relatives do. That's the problem.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about this one. Next question. We got this sent in from somebody. I hope this really didn't happen, and I'm terribly sorry if this was you. My mother passed away recently, and the funeral home has made a very big mistake. I didn't want to read this.
This is not good.
I didn't want to read it. No. Ooh. Our moms.
Did they cremate her on accident?
She said moms is MOS with no apostrophe. It's like multiple mothers, but I think she meant
Well, no, that's how some people refer. My mom's.
Our mom's cremades somehow got mixed with a stranger's.
Not good.
Okay. What can we do? Emotional
I don't know.
damages. There's
I
so
don't
many
know.
different things you're thinking about. First off, it's negligent. When you hear the word negligent, please inform everyone what the definition of negligence is so they know, because they hear it. You had a duty to perform. You either failed to perform correctly or you didn't perform at all.
You did something unreasonable. you did something in a way that a reasonable person wouldn't have done that thing.
Okay.
So if you have a job, like I'm supposed to chop down this tree, a reasonable person would not cut it in such a way that it falls on a house. A reasonable person would try to prevent it from falling on a house or a person.
Or that it damages some other structure.
A reasonable person would not let kids climb to the top of the tree while he's cutting it down, for example.
Now that we've explained that, your job was to cremate the remains of somebody you were hired to do. Now, is it reasonable that you would do that without mixing it up with somebody else? Now, that's not to say the crematorium is perfect where, you won't get some dust from another person, that they have to sterilize it and everything else. But to like mix and match different.
So here's my question. How did they know? Like somebody was super honest over
Maybe there
at
was
the
a filling or
crematorium?
something. Maybe there's a filling because I don't think it, like teeth filling. What happens with those? I don't know. If it saw some silver and they go, Mom didn't have any bad
teeth. Don't they melt?
Silver, it won't disappear.
I don't know.
I know they melt, but then
I'm dying to know how they found it out. Did they just admit it?
You think we're getting screwed with? I mean, they'd have to know, right? I mean, was it like a hefty bag and they just delivered it back? I mean,
a normal person occupies like 2 gallons worth of ash, and this is like 19 gallons.
They gave me a
ash.
5-gallon jug. I would assume that it would have to be some kind of synthetic in there that you knew wasn't like, like there's when you have like your hip or something else like that. Your hip replaced, you could sometimes
Would that make the ashes? Don't they sift through that stuff and just give you the ashes?
Maybe there's some gold flakes in it. Who knows? All right, but now let's say we can prove it.
All right.
There was a gold
tooth. For the
tooth.
sake of argument.
There's a tooth in there.
We
that
know
didn't fully
that the
melt.
ashes were mixed. It's unforgivable. What are the damages? How are you damaged?
Okay.
I will take the position of the defense attorney for the crematorium on this one.
Okay.
You're not damaged. Your mom, Jeff, although it's tragic, she passed. There's nothing you can do to bring her back. You do have her ashes. It's just that her ashes are mixed with somebody else. How does that cause you any harm? You still can do all of the things that you wanted to do. You can still spread your mother's ashes wherever you wanted to spread them. She wanted to be on this lake, go spread them on the lake. You fulfilled her last wish. How has this damaged you?
It's not my mother. My mother contracted in her will that I do something very specific with her ashes. Now, parts of her ashes
you can still do that.
Okay. Now, as a child, as somebody who wanted to do everything to honor my mother's memory, you have taken that from me. And I am emotionally, I let you go off in your nonsense. I am emotionally traumatized by what happened. I'm not done yet. Stop trying to cut me up. You don't get to do that. You don't get to tell me how I'm supposed to feel. And now I've gone to a therapist. And the other day I had such a mental breakdown, I crashed my car.
Okay.
And I am devastated by what happened because you failed in your responsibility to do the simplest thing, which is turn on an oven, break out a kid's shovel, and put it into a vase. That was your job. And now you've emotionally scarred me for life.
Well, you sound like someone who is so emotionally fragile that opening the cereal box on the wrong way would have sent you to the psychotherapist. All right.
And
if you're that fragile, I'm sorry, you don't get to hold everybody else to some weird standard of giving you $32 million because you have to deal with the fact that your mom's ashes might have somebody's ashes mixed in on accident. If it was an accident, get over it.
Well, the good thing about that is there were 6 people on that jury who hate you for screwing with my mother's ashes, and I might not get $32 million, but they're going to make you pay for your incompetence.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the court system's for. Today we have magician, writer, and Guinness Book World Record holder David Blaine. David, can you hear me?
Yeah, I love that introduction. Normally they say magician, mentalist, this, that, but yours was good.
I do stand-up comedy, so I got to be clean with it. These intros.
Nice to meet you, Jeff.
It's good to meet you. I've watched you for so many years, and there's such a difference between people, a magician, illusionist, physical acts, everything. But I think you hit on something when you first came out that just blew people's mind. It was just, this isn't like magic. This is real.
Yeah, but it started with cards and simple magic, and what was real was not the magic, it was the reactions. But yeah, my whole search as a magician has always been things that were real and believable. So my 3 words that I always think about when I'm working on magic is the initials of the letters are MIB, and it's so and then I use that as like, so the first thing is believable, which is one of the most important things to me. But and then I'm going backwards, is interesting, right? So it's like, and then the first one is it has to also be magical. So but I'd say the order is more important backwards. So it's MIB, but it's believable, interesting, and magical. And that's kind of what I try to figure out when I'm putting together something, is how close to believable is it? That's number one, because as soon as the person's logical and they're thinking about, oh, how did he do that? It's already gone. So it's like every time you look at an airplane floating over your head, that's magic, but we take it for granted because we know, oh, the engines and this and the jet propulsion. So we know what causes this to happen. But if you really just stared up and thought about thousands of tons, floating over your head, that's as magical as it gets. So yeah, I'm obsessed with that approach. But the beginning was card tricks, magic. The believability, I think, was people's reactions. And then I started to do some of the first stunt was Buried Alive, inspired by the one Harry Houdini wanted to do that he never had the chance to do. So it began with trying to do things that were real, not magical, but pushing to the edge, and things that most people would assume was an illusion or a trick, but trying to find the closest to truthful approach to it. So I think that's always what drove me to Harry Houdini, and that's what drove me to all the characters that Ricky Jay wrote about that he was intrigued by in his book, Learned Pigs and Fireproof Women, which is people that could convert their bodies into a prop to create magic. So there was a human aquarium, Mac Norton, who could put koi fish, goldfish, frogs, everything in his stomach, support an aquarium inside them, bring them up into an empty glass and give it to the kids in the audience. And then there was another guy named the human fire hydrant who could drink a gallon of water, drink kerosene, use the kerosene to blow fireballs, and then extinguish the fire with the gallon of water that was in his stomach. And then there's Stevie Starr, who's still alive, who's amazing, that is the regurgitator that uses his stomach to unlock locks when he swallows a key in a lock. And then there's also people like Tom Mullica, who passed away, who was one of my favorite magicians, but he would eat a pack of cigarettes lit. He'd swallow it, then bring it back up, smoke them fully lit, swallow them again, eat 20 more cigarettes, light them, swallow them, and then his mouth was empty and he was fine. So I was always most obsessed with the magicians that were doing things that were on the edge of real, and often, by the way, those things were real, and often those things were, like in Harry Houdini's case, that's what caused Harry Houdini's premature death, I think, because he was holding his breath in a water tank on stage, and he shouldn't have. He was in lots of pain, and he collapsed afterwards and was rushed to a hospital where he died a few days later.
That has a lot to do with your 6-part documentary that just came out called David Blaine, Do Not Attempt. And I think of that as an attorney. How many times do you do something and you're going, please, God, don't have some kid think he can do this?
No, and that's why I called the show Do Not Attempt. The show is called Do Not Attempt specifically because I had a nightmare at 3 a.m. and I was like, whoa, what if somebody tries to, I just done the bottle, the knife, and the note. I was like, what if somebody tries to do these things? So I felt like I was lucky that some of the things, the result of them, we show with the knife how close it is to the nervous system and the dangers of what can really happen from it. So but yes, that was the reason the show is called Do Not Attempt, was specifically for that.
Now, what I love about studying all the things you've done, there's such a huge line between, hey, listen, I got this trick, I got this illusion, or I'm physically going to do something that people can't do. I mean, you hold the Guinness Book record. I think it's 17 minutes and 4 seconds for holding your breath?
Yeah, but it's been pushed. Now it's 24 minutes and 3 seconds. And I don't think it's safe to push that far for me anyway. So it may remain that for, but yeah. At one point, live on the Oprah Winfrey Show, I went up to 17 minutes and 4 seconds And before that, the previous record was a hypothetical 13. As soon as I announced it, Tom Zetas went on Regis and Kelly and pushed the record to, I think, 16 and a half minutes or so, 16:32. And then I went on Oprah and pushed it to 17:04. But in training, by the way, I did with pulmonary experts and telemetry attached to me. I was in the water, and I went to 20 minutes and 2 seconds, but my heart rate dropped to 8 beats per minute. So they pulled me out of the water, freaking out, thinking I was going to go into cardiac arrest. But I was like, why'd you do that? But that was one that I started training for since I was 5 years old, holding my breath underwater. And that was kind of, I think that's what led me into this search for using the mind to override the body. In other words, using your willpower to achieve things that shouldn't be possible. And that's ultimately what led to this search around the world for these fascinating people that have worked for thousands of hours diligently on one skill set. Most of those skill sets are skill sets that everybody around them would say, don't do this. It's too dangerous. What are you doing? You're crazy. But they were so passionate about it that they drove themselves to learn it beyond almost anybody in the world. And to me, those things are as close to real magic as it gets. And it was a highlight and a dream to be able to actually feature the people that work on these skills that are amazing that as a kid, I only read about. So traveling the world to find them was incredible.
What I love about what you do is a lot of times as a writer and a creator and a joke writer and everything you can imagine, I think about when you come up with this idea, do you ever ask yourself, are they actually going to let me do this?
I mean, you're in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
So Disney is the one that backed this whole series, right? It's on Nat Geo, and they've all been amazing. But just getting standards and practices to agree to these things, that's the real magic of this entire series. Like, oh, he's going to sit in a room with 6 black mambas. Okay, sure. He's going to kiss a king cobra. And these are all wild animals that are, being brought, they like Neville recovers them because they're in South Africa in the KwaZulu-Natal, and they basically, when people have snake encounters like black mambas, he recovers them, puts them safely to make sure they're okay. He rehabs them and then puts them back out in the wild. But while doing so, he sits in this little enclosure with 6 black mambas, and he's just meditating with them. And he's proving that if you have, because there's snake encounters very often in South Africa, and if you encounter a mamba and you try to attack it, somebody's going to get hurt or probably die. So he teaches you by demonstrating in this place that people can watch him in this enclosure, and he sits with 6 black mambas, sipping his coffee and just meditating with them. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, because I understood that the immediate risk is death. And he was missing a leg from a snake-related injury, and he had gone into a coma 2 times from snake-related injuries. So anyway, but I trusted everything. I watched him. I observed carefully, and then I sat with him for a bit, and just did exactly what he said. So I stayed still. When the mamba comes towards you, just remain calm. Do not react. If you want to get out, you can't get out. You have to wait till they let you out, but then everything is fine. So that was pretty incredible to experience, I have to say.
Now, this is the weird thing, because I think about this all the time. When I was younger, I was in the military. I jumped out of airplanes. About 2 years ago, a buddy of mine goes, hey, let's jump out of an airplane. I had cut a deal with God that I wasn't going to do it again. But for my friend, I said, okay, I'll do it. And I jump out of this airplane, I hit the ground, I'm going, I'm never doing this. Is the dumbest thing I ever did. Now, I can imagine how many stunts you've done where you go afterwards, you go, wow, that was dumb. I really should not have done this.
You jumped solo?
Yeah. It'd been a while. So, nuts.
So for me, if I'm not excited by the idea, I won't do it. So for me, the idea of flying through the sky is like one of the greatest. Training for, I did a stunt called Ascension where I rode a bunch of balloons up to actually to 25,000 feet. On air, they said 24.9, but it was 25 because I was looking at my altimeter. But anyway, so I rode them up to 25,000. Then I dropped, and flying from that height, just like soaring through the air, was the highlight. It's unlike anything because it's a heightened sense of awareness. So what those things give me, I think, on some level, is it takes away all the the normal things that you concern yourself with are the things that I think about. Like, oh, where am I going to do this? What's this? I have to return this car. I have to pay this bill. I have to do this. But when I'm doing those things, it's like everything is in slow motion and everything is super clear. And that's part of the drive, I think. I think it is something that gives me that feeling and that experience that I'll never have. And so I wouldn't do it if I was like, oh, this is stupid. I wouldn't do it. If I don't like the idea of it, I won't do it. But if I'm intrigued by the action, or if I watch it and love it, then I can't get it out of my head. So it's almost like we're the opposite approach.
Now, I can imagine somebody like you. You've done a lot. You've seen a lot. It's really tough to surprise me or to amaze me. And the last time I was amazed when I was watching Elon bring that rocket back and it landed. And that was ridiculous for me to see. What does it take? Last thing you think about that? Wow, that was amazing.
I see. We're the opposite. I'm amazed by, like, if you watch the series, you'll see me jumping around and screaming and reacting. I do that all the time. My friends will show me one move with the card trick, and I become the audience on my shows. I'm the one that's like running away, screaming, yelling. Which is why the series is awkward for me in many ways, because I don't show that part. But I'm the opposite. I'm like amazed by like the so many. And then my daughter does anything, and I'm blown away. Like I've never seen anything equal to it in my life, but well deserved. She works very hard on her rhythmic gymnastics skill, but anything that I see that, to me, I understand and appreciate the amount of invisible work that they put into it, meaning they put thousands of hours, countless thousands of hours, to make something seem, to me, like magic, whether they're magicians or whether they're jumping from cliffs or whether they're dancing in the air. That's the stuff that I get. I think that excite me, that keep me wanting to always learn, that keep me, inspired. So yeah, that type of thing.
You know, I have a daughter too, and I realize I can't give her much advice because I'm her father, and I could try to, but she goes, I'm my dad. So I get the benefit of asking like the best people in every field. And she wants to be an actress. You wanted to be a magician.
Is she?
She's 19.
Okay. I have a great answer.
Well, I'm asking for it because I'm truly a selfish human being. So what advice would you give to somebody who's going after something?
That's not selfish. That's great. So I think a really good a good approach. And I remember I was lucky to hear this advice from Sean Penn, and I registered it at a young age, and I thought it was really good. And somebody came up to him and asked him the exact same question. She said, "Oh, my son wants to be an actor, but it's so hard. What advice do you give him?" And his answer was incredible. Here's what he said. He said, most people have a plan B, and they have a backup plan. But if you take the minority of people, they have a single focus. They're willing to go through countless amounts of failures, rejections. They're going to keep getting better. They're going to keep trying. And if their motivating force, if their passion and their drive has a meaning behind it, like they want to become an actor because they want to communicate something with the world, or if they have something that is so important to them that nothing can stop them, then the advantage they have over everybody else is they'll keep working, they'll keep putting the time, and they'll keep watching all the best films with the best performances, writing notes, thinking about things that can inspire them, reading books that inspire them. So the more you put into it, the more I think the higher your rate of success is, because you're basically putting in the time that nobody else would. So I think if you're driven and willing to put the passion, the time, the dedication, and you look at that Churchill quote where he says, success is the ability to go from one failure to the next failure with enthusiasm. If you keep that in your back burner, that type of approach, I believe, gives you a big edge. And for me, when I was doing my first TV show, Street Magic, my motivating cause, my passions through everybody saying, oh, this is magic, like this doesn't work on TV. It was the day of the big illusions and stuff like that. All the shows were called World's Best Magicians or Best Illusions. But I wanted to show just the simple card tricks and people reacting. But I wrote on a napkin, I scribbled this message. And the message was, I'm going to show that all people from all different walks of life, whether you're rich, poor, young, old, old, Christian, Jewish, any ethnicity, wherever you're from, I'm going to show the best side of all people by showing their reactions. And because of that meaning behind everything, I was able to keep driving forward when everybody was saying, no, it's impossible. So I think that, anyway, that's sorry for the long answer, but that's my answer to the question.
I can't thank you enough, David, and I appreciate having you, and good luck with the documentary. Be well. Well, that wraps up today's show. I'm attorney Jeff Kaufman. Thanks for joining us. Special thanks to my two co-hosts, my good friend, professional comedian James John, and my law partner, Craig Lind. This show is sponsored by Kaufman Lind. If you or someone you know has been in an accident, contact us at 407-500-JEFF or 407-500-5333 for a free consultation, or visit us at whenyouneedus.com.